Below freezing temperatures could be around for another 2 weeks by the time all is said and done, with more snow possible. We'll have the latest on the enduring cold snap and the dig out from last weekend's storm. The Indiana General Assembly is advancing legislation to renew the state's syringe exchange program for another decade, but critics of the program say it enables drug users. And a local company is receiving millions of dollars in contracts from ICE and Customs and Border Control. More on that just ahead. We'll have these stories and more coming up on Indiana Newsdesk.
Indiana Newsdesk is made possible in part by Maller Grotner Plumber Attorneys, providing legal services to clients and the community. Maller Grotner Plumber Attorneys, understanding, expertise, results. Bloomington and Indianapolis, on the web at lawngp.com. IU Center for Rural Engagement, extending IU Bloomington resources to improve Hoosier lives in partnership with communities and organizations. rural.indiana.edu. Smithville, fiber internet, security solutions, and voice in Southern Indiana. More information at smithville.com. Bunger and Robertson, attorneys at law since 1949, utilizing experience, knowledge, and resources to help individuals and families recover in personal injury matters. Information at lawbr.com. And by WTIU members. Thank you.
Welcome to Indiana Newsdesk. I'm Joe Wren. Below freezing temperatures are continuing to slow snow removal efforts following last weekend's winter storm. Now, some areas in southern and central Indiana got 15 inches of snow, and the snow and ice isn't going away because it's so cold. That's because salt doesn't melt ice when temperatures are below 15 degrees. In Monroe County, crews are using a salt and sand mixture and prioritizing main roads.
I think you still have to go slow. Most of the roads still have some snowpack, frozen material, frozen snow on it.
She says the storm will end up costing the county around $80,000. The National Weather Service says it's not going to get above freezing for at least the next 10 days. Eddie Stewart has more.
Many Bloomington residents are still shoveling out after over a foot of snowfall last weekend.
Kind of sucks. So I'm just trying to avoid getting my nose frozen off and my fingertips, but trying to just cover up and keep as warm as possible.
The lingering cold temps mean that people can't rely on snow quickly melting away.
The worst of it is, because of the cold weather, this snow isn't going anywhere for weeks.
NWS meteorologist Jason Puma says that between heavy snowfall and an extended cold snap, we can expect to see snow sticking around for at least a week.
It's going to take a little while. We're going to need several days of above freezing temperatures and higher dew points in the area to make that happen.
Puma says that more snow could be on the way, but it's nothing to worry about.
The snow that would fall would be nothing like we just experienced. We're talking just, a dusting here or there, maybe an inch or here or there, but nothing like several inches like we just had.
For Indiana Newsdesk, I'm Eddie Stewart.
The National Weather Service encourages those going outside to take proper precautions, which include taking frequent breaks, limiting time outdoors, and going into warmer areas when possible. Acatus Technologies, formerly Envisage and now part of Vector Solutions, is one of Bloomington's startup success stories. But as Ethan Sandwise reports, the local software company's long ties to ICE and Customs and Border Patrol are raising eyebrows at home.
Acatus makes software that helps government agencies track their employees' training. Since 2004, Acatus has been awarded more than $99 million in contracts from the Department of Homeland Security, most of which came from ICE or Customs and Border Patrol. Since Donald Trump's re-election, both agencies have carried out high-profile mass arrests of immigrants, not all undocumented. After federal agencies shot and killed 2 Americans at protests in Minneapolis, they faced widespread outrage. Acatus plays a small role in their operations, but Bloomington protesters say that's too much.
Even if it's just in a small way, I don't want that here. I don't want bad things to happen near where I live.
Joining me now is Ethan Sandwise, who's been looking into Acatus. Ethan, the company produces learning management software. What does that mean exactly?
Think about any time you've had to do an online work training. Your employer keeps track of what you finished, what you still have to do, and how long it took. That's basically Acatus. They don't make the training that ICE uses, but with the agency trying to add 12,000 new officers, there's a lot of training it needs to monitor.
So it sounds like their impact on ICE operations is indirect. So why are protesters going after this company?
I asked Pat Wall, a member of the Bloomington Democratic Socialists. He said ICE could easily find a new service if Acatus pulled out, but protesters want to fight the agency through attrition. Even a small operational hurdle would be a victory in the context of bigger efforts, and Acatus happens to be a local piece of that machine.
If you know, sort of my hypothesis or my operating theory is correct, and breaking these little pieces of the machine matters, we just have to play whack-a-mole. That's all there is to it.
I understand also that Acatus has gotten a lot of support from the city.
You have to remember that Acatus has been a good for Bloomington's economy. Started small in 2001 as Envisage Technologies, but since then it's doubled and tripled in size. It pays a lot in taxes and it provides high-paying jobs. In 2009, before ICE and the Border Patrol earned the reputation they have now, Bloomington City Council gave Acatus more than $500,000 to stay in town and move to Fountain Square Mall. In 2017, the city gave the company another $300,000 to expand its office if they promised to meet staffing and salary benchmarks.
This would serve as a recognition both of Envisage's commitment to retain its current workforce in Bloomington and grow it here as well.
This was still early in the first Trump term, and ICE wasn't as notorious as it would become a year or so later.
So have you asked Acatus about its involvement with ICE and Border Patrol?
I've asked, but the company declined an interview. Vice President Victoria Zambito of Acatus' parent company, Vector Solutions, emphasized in a statement that Acatus doesn't create training content. To that, Bloomington critics have a question.
I would want to know if they feel complicit, and if not, why not? How can you justify working with this agency?
I asked Bloomington founder Ari Vidali, but I didn't get a response.
All right, thanks, Ethan, for being here and for the report. Community members expressed concerns about potential immigration and customs enforcement presence in schools at this week's Monroe County School Board meeting. Isabella Vesperini has more on how the board and students are responding to the issue.
Last week, ICE agents detained 5-year-old Liam Ramos on his way home from school in a suburb of Minneapolis and took him and his dad to a detention facility in Texas. Ramos is one of 4 children in that district detained by ICE agents in the last 2 weeks.
Schools have a responsibility to make sure that there's a plan in place. When ICE shows up and the whistles go off, that you know what to do, that everybody in the building knows what to do, that the students and parents know what to do to avoid being kidnapped.
In response to these concerns, board member April Hennessy spoke about her work with the Hoosier Asian American Power Organization. She said one of their closest partners is in Minneapolis.
Their caution to us was that when it comes to your plans, especially safety plans for students in schools, you should be quiet about them.
Hennessy assured attendees that the administration is working to keep students safe.
To assume that the district and the board doesn't have a plan, I think, would be erroneous. This district and this administration has a plan for everything. But just as with some other safety plans, we do not broadcast those publicly because they then no longer are safe.
This comes after about 35 Bloomington South students held a walkout last week to protest ICE activities in Minneapolis.
We wanted to show that we don't condone or support what ICE is doing in Minneapolis, and that we are watching and we are noticing and we are standing with our Minneapolis peers.
For Indiana Newsdesk, I'm Isabella Vesperini.
Robinson says that none of the students who participated in the walkout have faced any disciplinary action. The Monroe County Community School Board has approved transferring up to $12.5 million to its operations fund. The money will come from the education fund, which is generally used for teacher salaries and benefits. The operations account is funded by local property taxes. It helps pay for transportation, buildings, technology, and athletic facilities.
While you may not see an immediate effect, if you pass this resolution, it's just seen as yet another cut to the morale of a lot of our teachers. What are we worth?
The corporation is allowed to transfer up to 15% of the education fund to the operations fund per year. The approved transfer represents just over 14% of the 2026 education fund. Well, for more headlines from around the state, we're joined by Shelby Brown. Welcome. Show, Shelby.
Thanks, Joe. Despite pressure from the Trump administration, Indiana senators declined to redraw congressional district maps late last year. The head of the state Senate has avoided interviews, but now he's sharing more about why he opposed redistricting. Aubrey Wright reports.
New maps would have given Republicans full control of the state's 9 districts. They currently control 7. But during a community meeting in Owen County, Senate President Pro Tem Roderick Bray said even now, there's not a candidate that could win those 2 remaining seats.
They haven't walked in a parade, they haven't gone to a fair, they haven't tenderloined with constituents in any part of the district at this point, and haven't raised $1 of money. So I think it's a fiction to think that all of a sudden we could turn that into 9-0.
Bray also says most of his constituents were against redistricting. After redistricting efforts failed, Trump called out Bray on social media and vowed to remove him from office. Trump says Bray has, quote, betrayed the Republican Party. But Bray says he didn't turn any senators against the idea of redistricting.
And that's not how I lead my caucus. It's the honor of my life to be the President Pro Tem of the Senate. I lead by consensus. We work together to figure out what the right thing to do is. The people that decided they were for it. I gave them no pressure or punishment whatsoever. The people that weren't for it, it was their decision completely. And that's where the Senate landed.
Bray says the General Assembly could reconsider a similar bill next year, but redistricting is off the table for this legislative session. For Indiana Newsdesk, I'm Aubrey Wright.
In a new post on social media this week, President Donald Trump made another round of endorsements seeking to oust Republican state senators who opposed his push for Indiana congressional redistricting. Trump is throwing his support behind primary challengers to Senators Greg Good of Terre Haute and Spencer Deary of West Lafayette. He's endorsing Vigo County Councilwoman Brenda Wilson against Good and Paula Copenhaver in her challenge to Deary. The FBI searched 2 labs in the Indiana University biology department last month. One of them employed a Chinese researcher who faces smuggling charges for bringing plasmid DNA from E. coli into the country. The FBI declined to share more information. The laboratories belong to Professors Roger Innes and Zindong Wang, both microbiologists who work with bacteria. Innes employed postdoctoral fellow Youang Xiang, who the FBI arrested in November. An IU spokeswoman wouldn't agree to an interview, but said in a statement that IU expects faculty and staff to follow the law. Dora Hospitality is moving forward on the Bloomington Convention Center Companion Hotel, but in a different location. After not getting incentives it wanted to build on the site north of the current convention center, Dora says it will now build south of the property. The land is currently overflow parking for the Courtyard Marriott and current convention center. It's owned by the Capital Improvement Board.
And I would posit that the city and the county are going to have discussions about how we deal with parking space issues as well related to this project.
The hotel will have 200 rooms, a full-service restaurant and bar facing College Avenue, a fitness center, and it will be 5 stories. Indiana University's Center for Rural Engagement is partnering with Brown County to help support projects that will help the county. The partnership is for the 2026-2027 school year and is through the center's Sustaining Hoosier Communities program. The center's director says Brown County residents have concerns around access to health care, interest in expanding their arts and culture, and resources for their school system.
We follow the community's lead. The community decides what projects it would like to put forward, and then we do the work to pair our faculty and students on campus with those projects.
And Joe, she says there will be a listening session next month to hear from recent students.
All right, thanks so much, Shelby. Well, a law that legalizes syringe services in Indiana is up for renewal. These programs have been allowed since 2015 after a massive HIV outbreak was linked to injected drug use. Aubrey Wright reports on how this service works and what would happen if it was canceled.
Staff with Monroe County's syringe service program told me they're focused on judgment-free care that helps people overcome addiction. They told me losing these services would destroy thousands of lifelines.
The Indiana Recovery Alliance has come a long way since its founding about a decade ago. It serves about 5,000 people each year in Monroe County, and like other Indiana syringe service programs, they do more than just provide sterile supplies and safely dispose of used needles.
The SSP just is I have a split 5 seconds to give people who normally wouldn't dignity and respect and love and compassion and a place to feel home.
Staff like Scott Petrovich say they're in the human rights business. Along with syringes, they offer treatment referrals, hygiene supplies, and free HIV and hepatitis C testing. And each year they give out more than 30,000 naloxone doses, which can fully reverse opioid overdoses.
We believe that drug users should be treated with dignity and respect. And when folks come in here, it's a safe place for them. They are allowed to be themselves.
Petrovich's favorite part of the job is outreach. Staff take their bus to centers around Bloomington, often working with unhoused and marginalized people in local encampments. As an organization run by people in recovery, staff say their lived experiences, along with their education, make their work successful.
Our folks trust us, and that it speaks volumes. It speaks volumes.
8 Indiana counties have offered syringe services like this one in Monroe County. 6 operate today. But these programs could end in July when the law expires.
I mean, it would be devastating for this law to not be renewed.
Syringe services have been legal since 2015. That winter, more than 230 people became infected with HIV in southern Indiana. The outbreak was linked to the opioid epidemic, as drug users often shared, reused, and resharpened dirty needles. 4 months after the first confirmed HIV case, former Governor Mike Pence authorized a sterile syringe exchange.
I will tell you that I do not support needle exchange as anti-drug policy, but this is a public health emergency.
That syringe exchange was credited with stopping the HIV epidemic. Despite this success, the stigma around syringe exchanges persists. Opponents often believe they enable drug use or call them immoral. But harm reduction advocates such as Kimbrough disagree. She says people find recovery at their own pace in a way that makes sense to them. A clean needle could be the first step in teaching someone how to care for themselves and recover from addiction.
Over time, I've seen so many people enter into recovery in a way that I don't think they would if it wasn't for coming here. And if it wasn't for someone saying, like, you don't need complete abstinence for recovery.
As for the law, there's progress in Indianapolis. Senator Michael Kreider has authored a bill to keep syringe services for another 10 years. That bill passed the Senate this week.
I mean, I think the data is all there. It suggests that this is something we should continue.
He says, ideally, Indiana would legalize syringe services without an expiration date, but it's been tough to pass previous renewals.
I hope so. I hope the next time this conversation comes up that whoever it is that's in my shoes or that's willing to take on these battles will attempt to do that.
That's something the Indiana Recovery Alliance hopes for too. But for now, staff such as Petrovich will continue their work in Monroe County one step at a time.
Other people, and there's many pathways to recovery, and that's what we try and preach here to folks that need help, that want help. And for people who don't want help, I love you too, and I'm going to treat you with respect and dignity, and I'm going to try and teach you things and help you stay alive.
The syringe exchange bill now heads to the House. For Indiana Newsdesk, I'm Aubrey Wright.
The General Assembly is at the halfway point and working on numerous bills. Now, one that would let anyone sue over the illegal use of abortion-inducing drugs in Indiana is headed to the full House. The proposal prohibits manufacturing, distributing, mailing, prescribing, or possessing abortion-inducing drugs in Indiana, with exceptions for a pregnant woman's own actions, the drug's other uses, the U.S. Constitution, and federal law. The bill would also expand how abortions are defined, increasing reporting requirements for doctors. A bill would allow Indiana National Guard military police to make arrests and conduct searches when activated by the governor. Carolyn Beck reports on the measure advancing at the State House.
The Indiana governor already has broad powers over when to deploy the National Guard in the state and even the authority to make arrests in certain circumstances. The bill would expand those policing powers. Democrats, including Representative Matt Pierce, largely condemned the measure and say it could lead to dangerous scenarios like those seen recently in Minneapolis between protesters and federal law enforcement agents.
Once you implement something like this, you have no idea how things can spin out of control. And we've seen that at community after community, to the point of tragedy.
Republicans and National Guard leaders support the bill, saying it is another tool in their toolbox for responding to a crisis. The bill now heads to the Senate. I'm Caroline Beck at the State House.
A bill to add the firing squad as an execution method in Indiana failed this week. The legislation could still be brought back for another vote before Monday's legislative deadline. However, firing squads have never been legal in Indiana. Opponents from both sides of the aisle countered that the bill raises moral and practical concerns and risks accelerating executions without fully addressing the broader debate around capital punishment. A state Senate bill aims to carry out Governor Mike Braun's executive order to reduce environmental overregulation to help businesses grow. Rebecca Thiel reports environmental groups worry the bill would significantly limit the Indiana Department of Environmental Management's ability to protect Hoosiers from pollution.
The bill makes several things currently required of IDEM optional, such as setting standards for investigating and cleaning up hazardous waste. It prohibits IDEM from making environmental rules that are more burdensome than federal ones, but doesn't specify what that means.
Hoosiers would have limited or no standing to hold their government accountable if it fails to protect them from bad actors and accidental but preventable health effects or health risks from polluters.
The bill also limits IDEM's ability to review permits for nuclear power plants at a time when lawmakers are encouraging small reactors to be built in the state. David Van Gilder with the Hoosier Environmental Council says the bill shows the governor is not listening to his constituents.
When IDEM asked for public comment on the governor's executive orders this year, the response was overwhelmingly in favor of continued and even strengthened protections.
Van Gilder says the vague language in the bill could also open it up to lawsuits if it becomes law.
For Indiana Newsdesk, I'm Rebecca Thiel.
About a third of Indiana townships would likely be forced to merge under a bill that passed the Senate this week. The bill's author says his legislation would merge the least efficient townships in the state based on a data-driven point system. The Indiana Department of Local Government Finance would assess points for townships based on assistance provided, annual budgets, involvement in fire protection, and other factors. If a township reaches 4 designated points, the requirement to merge would kick in. The measure now moves to the House. And the Chicago Bears are looking for a new home, and if Indiana gets its way, the Bears could end up in Gary. The Indiana Senate voted Wednesday to establish a state-run stadium authority that would finance and build a stadium for the Bears in Northwest Indiana. called the Northwest Indiana Stadium Authority. It would acquire land, issue bonds, and finance the building of the stadium. That's the end of this program, but our work continues online as we cover the news throughout the week at WTIUnews.org. We leave you now with some sights and sounds from the Indiana football celebration last Saturday at a frigid Memorial Stadium by Alexandra Holm. Have a great weekend, everybody.
Not only made history for the Indiana football program, but has captured the hearts and minds of football fans all across this country.
Here's the snap, the handoff goes to Nowakowski. He dives his way to the end zone. Touchdown! And the punt is on. It is picked up. Touchdown, Indiana! There's a ball in his hands. Sideline hits.
Head coach of the year, your ball coach, Coach Signetti.
Indiana Newsdesk is made possible in part by Maller Grotner Plummer Attorneys, providing legal services to clients and the community. Maller Grotner Plummer Attorneys, understanding, expertise, results. Bloomington and Indianapolis, on the web at lawngp.com. IU Center for Rural Engagement, extending IU Bloomington resources to improve Hoosier lives in partnership with communities and organizations. rural.indiana.edu. Smithville, fiber internet, security solutions, and voice in Southern Indiana. More information at smithville.com. Bunger and Robertson, attorneys at law since 1949, utilizing experience, knowledge, and resources to help individuals and families recover in personal injury matters. Information at lawbr.com. And by WTIU members. Thank you.